company was interested to launch a new perfume now. It had decided upon 3 fragrances, out of which it could launch only one particular fragrance. But they did not know that out of these 3 fragrances, that is lavender, rose and jasmine, which particular fragrance to launch, because they did not know which fragrance the people would prefer. So what did they do? They had a new employee tasked with going around and asking people what fragrance they would prefer. This is the information that the employee obtained. This information that the employee obtained for a specific purpose is known as raw data. Employee had to present this data to his boss. Employee had to present this data to his boss. But can he present it in this particular format? No, because this raw data is not going to convey any particular information. So the employee proceeds to counting. How many have opted for lavender? How many have opted for rose and jasmine respectively? He found that out of the total people he surveyed, 13 have opted for lavender fragrance, 11 people chose rose fragrance and 6 opted for jasmine fragrance. And 6 have opted for jasmine fragrance. After getting this data, he proceeds to represent this data in tabular format like this. By one look at this data, his boss was able to decide easily which particular fragrance the company should launch in order to satisfy his customers. And this is what is known as statistics. Statistics is nothing but the collection and representation of data for specific purposes. Decisions are made by analyzing and interpreting the data collected. Statistics can be applied in many spheres of life. One of the prime applications is marketing. What usually happens in marketing is that companies conduct extensive surveys of their customer base to find out what particular product their customers prefer and launch that product to the customer for the satisfaction as well as for increasing their profits. Now tell me, where else do you think that the statistics is applied? In medical studies. Now you must have heard that smoking causes cancer. And I'm sure that it is a very common warning given everywhere. Now, how is this conclusion reached? It's through the medical studies and the surveys conducted. Even in the stock market, weather forecasting statistics play a huge role. So, in this manner, statistics help us not only in studying what has happened, but also in studying what is about to happen. Thus, understanding statistics is absolutely necessary. So, for that, one must know the various methods of representing the data. Now, do you remember the various measures of central tendency? The 3 M's? Mean, median and mode. These measures of central tendency aid in finding a representative value for the given data. It also gives an idea of where the data points are centered. Let's discuss the 3 M's one by one. First one, mean of the data. The mean of the data is obtained by dividing the sum of observations by the number of observations, and it is denoted by x bar. And the equation is x bar is equal to 1 by n summation I is equal to 1 to n into xi. Next, we will have a look at median. Median represents the middle value. If the number of observations is odd, median is the value of the n plus 1 by 2th observation. Now, what happens if the observation is even? The median value is found out by value of n by 2th plus n by 2 plus 1 observation, the whole divided by 2. That means we have to take the mean. Also provided the data has to be arranged in the increasing order. Now, the third M, that is mode. What is mode? It refers to the most frequently occurring value or the observation in that particular given dataset. But many times, these measures of central tendency may not give satisfactory results as they are not sufficient to give complete information about the given data, especially when analyzing the performance metrics of different peoples. Variability is another factor which requires to be studied under statistics. There arises the need for another measure which can describe and determine the variability in the given dataset. This measure, we call it as measures of dispersion. Measures of dispersion is a statistical measure which helps to interpret the variability of a data. That is, it can measure the dispersion or scatter in a data. There are mainly 4 types of measures of dispersion, namely range, quartile deviation, mean deviation, and the last, standard deviation. Now, in this video, we will limit our discussion in explaining only one measure of dispersion, which is range of a data set. Consider, for instance, of a set of values 40, 11, 17, 13, 28, 45, 72, 53. Can you identify the maximum or the highest value in this data set? By looking into this, one can say 72 is the maximum or the highest value. Now, what about the minimum value? The minimum value is 11 in this data set, right? Now, find the difference between the highest and the lowest value that you obtain. So, it will be 72 minus 11, that is 61. And this difference is what is called range of a data set. So, the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value is called the range of a series. The range of a data provides a basic idea of variability or dispersion, but it does not indicate how dispersed the data is from the measure of central tendency. This is where the usage of range is limited. So, we need some other measures of dispersion, the one that determines the amount of deviation from the central tendency. Can you guess what those dispersion measures are called? Let's discuss such measures of variability in the next video. Now, let's wrap up the entire section.
Manorama Horizon. Learning made simple.